Well, thank you everyone for showing up to my talk. And the title of my talk is Out of Place, where I'll discuss my experience as a newbie in the quantum field, trying to scavenger hunt for resources and trying to find my place in this field. And I guess I'll just give a little introduction about myself. So I'm a junior studying physics, math, and computer science at Duke University. I'm a junior. I just said that. Sorry. And I work for Professor Ken Brown at Duke on quantum control specifically. And I lead a group at Duke called Duke Undergraduate Quantum Information Society, also known as Duke. So right away, you might wonder, why am I here? I'm an undergrad. I barely have any experience in this field. Why am I here among a list of amazing women leaders in business, industry, academia, in the quantum field? And that's the question I asked myself. So I want to give a few disclaimers. So the first disclaimer is that I'm not a genius child. Trust me. I haven't made significant contributions to this field. So that's not why I'm here. And I definitely wouldn't say that I'm an expert in this field, as to be honest with you, I haven't even taken quantum mechanics for a major requirement. So by no means I'm an expert in this field. And third of all, this talk is not about science. We're not going to talk about academic and the specifics of my research. So why am I here for? Well, I'm actually going to tell you right away the objectives of my talk. When I was designing the talk, I thought that I can group my audience into two groups. The audience who are just getting started, who are just like me, just getting started in this field. And my objective for you is to be able to walk away from this talk knowing how to proactively seek out resources and support. And one thing that I want to emphasize is that it's never too late or too early, meaning that if you're someone who are in mid-career, you want to transition into this field, it's never too late. And if you're just a young student who are eager to get into this field, it's never too early. And the second group of audience is the people who are further along in their career. And I want you to help us. I want you to, us here referring to the girls who want to build a career in quantum, aka the first group of audience. So I want to give you some tips of how to help us while we try to get into this field. And for the rest of the talk, I'm going to center on my experiences of being someone who wants to find a place in the quantum computing field. So starting off, I would like to say that I've definitely been one of the luckier girls growing up. I was born in Eastern China in a city close to Shanghai, and my family had a great influence on me. My grandpa at a young age was inspired by his grandpa to pursue science. On the picture on the right, you can see a picture of my grandpa when he went to MIT. And as a kid, I spent most of the time at my grandparents' house, who are both chemists, by the way. They really cultivated my curiosity for my surroundings. And one distinct memory that I can share with you is that I asked my grandpa, why does the steam on top of a bowl of noodles curls instead of going straight up? And he explained to me a lot about fluid dynamics and how that relates to aerospace engineering, how we design rocket ships and cars even. And that really fascinated me about the microscopic world that we see around us every day. A lot of natural phenomena that has inner workings from these microscopic science that we just take for granted every day. And I didn't learn about the specific quantum physics, the term quantum physics, until I came across this book on the shelf when I was a middle schooler. Now, to be honest with you, I didn't even get through the first chapter of this book because I was really confused by the idea of wave-particle duality, and I'm sure many of the scientists are also confused by that. And my first mathematical introduction to quantum mechanics was the summer after my junior year, where I took a quantum mechanics course at Stanford. And you can see a picture on the right where I had one of my all-time favorite equations handed on my arm. And it was recommended to me by one of my TAs, who was then an MIT physics graduate, to take the edX course series of courses, QM courses, which are offered at MIT. And I kind of find it hard to keep up with it while I was in high school because I don't have the proper training in math. And my high school teachers are not very, very much of a help when I have questions. But luckily, my high school has this research program where they pair motivated students with professors at nearby universities, so you get to work in their his or her lab. And through some persistent emailing, I landed in Professor Jesse Beresovsky's group at Case Western Reserve University. And I was able to get help for my quantum mechanics course, as well as having my first taste of research there. Sorry. I guess the first experience this is my first experience out of place. I mean, how much can a high school student do? Indeed, limited by my experience, much of what I did all day was just to follow the grad students around like a duckling and observe what they do and be curious about it. However, it was a very precious experience for me because it helped me learn what research is about, and it helped me land in my next research position, which is working with Professor Micah Mickelson at the beginning of my freshman year at Duke. Again, after some persistent emailing, where I worked on manufacturing samples of quantum dots and some other experimental works. But it didn't take long for me to realize that I don't really want to do experiment. I wanted to know the inner workings behind it, so I want to do theory. And that I'm more interested in the idea of combining physics and computation. So that's where I suddenly hit the light bulb and started exhaustively search the internet for resources and opportunities for quantum computing for undergraduates. And I came across this. Oh, sorry, this is a picture of Professor Micah Mickelson's group. And I came across this opportunity, which is Inside Quantum Technology Conference. And I was like, great, this is a conference for business people. It must not be so technical, and it will probably provide me a great overview of this field. So I went to that conference, and you know what? It turns out I was the only undergraduate there in a room full of scientists, industry leaders, investors, and business people. However, I did manage to make some meaningful connections and have some very nice conversations and very nice advice from people. One of the advice was that to work with Professor Ken Brown at Duke. And immediately after the conference, I reached out to Professor Johnson Kim and Professor Ken Brown at Duke, and they were luckily very quick to respond. And I started working with Professor Ken Brown my freshman year summer and have been working there since then. So the journey continues. Since then, I have attended a student conference, 2 stacked summer schools organized by Professor Ken Brown, my first QIP ever, yay. I have helped organize the IBM Summer Jam Hackathon, attended KissKit's Global Summer School, and the list just goes on. So at this point, you might wonder that it might seem that I have it figured out, or at least I'm on the right track. So the natural question to ask is, have I found my place? Well, the answer is sort of. What I realized is that the feeling of out of place is inevitable when you constantly try to improve yourself by putting yourself outside of your comfort zone. So I have reconciled with the feeling of out of place, but what about others like me who are just getting started or who are just entering the field? Recognizing that there's many of us who might be overwhelmed by scavenging for resources, or might be suffering due to the scarcity of resources, I started the Duke Undergraduate Quantum Information Society along with one of my friends, Nora. It's female founded. And the goal is to link students to resources and help them make the first step. So what is the moral of the story? Throughout these experiences, there have been many times where I felt out of place, where I felt undeserving of the opportunity I was given, just like today's talk. And the feeling of out of place comes when you feel like you're not supposed to be there, or when you're simply different from other people. And unfortunately, that's pretty true in a male-predominated industry or field. It's easy for young women to feel out of place on many occasions. And one piece of advice that I want to give my audience, the first group of audience who are just getting started, out of place to me means the spirit of proactively seeking out resources and pursuing your passion regardless of your surroundings, and be able to step out of your comfort zone and connect with people who you aspire to be. And on the other hand, I'll have to admit that I was really fortunate to have any positive out of place experience, from supportive family to encouraging professors, from having professionals who are willing to talk to me at a conference full of full of industry leaders. And one piece of advice that I want to give for my older audience, I'm sure all of you at some point of your career have had a mentor that has great influence on you, whether it was a middle school teacher or it was your boss at work who recognized your talent. And sometimes even just having a small talk with a student or someone who are just getting started in this field could be really, really helpful and make a huge impact on their life. So at the end of this talk, I hope to challenge both audience who are just getting started and audience who are further along to reach out to someone who you would normally not have the opportunity to connect with during this summit. Thank you so much.
Catherine, thank you so much. That was awesome. And,
thank you.
We all feel out of place at times. It's not just you. I think it's a natural feeling. And we even talked about this a little bit yesterday with kind of the pretender syndrome, like I'm pretending, or do I really have the skill? And so I think this was a great talk. And I think, I'm in sales, so I always put everything in sales terms. But what's the worst thing that can happen? You go up to someone and they don't want to talk to you, so you try someone else. And I think, one of the things that I always try to tell myself is we all got to try. And you've tried and you put yourself out there and you succeeded, and that's just awesome. And I would say that's probably one of the best skills that any of us could have, is the ability to try and, understand I'm not a rocket scientist, but I want to talk to one and connect. And so, I just congratulate you. I think that, your talk is amazing. I think that you put yourself out and went to all these events is amazing. And I know I can see everybody in the chat is saying, how can we support you? And just, want you to know that we all feel the same way and we're all in this with you.
Thank you so much.
Please just keep on trying and understand that this is a group that will support you and help you in whatever your next steps are.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk here, and I really appreciate for all the audience who are willing to hear me out and give me the opportunities to let me say what I have to say. And this has been an amazing opportunity. And if anyone have any questions, I'm willing to answer. But yeah, thank you so much.
All right, everybody. I'm having horrible internet problems today after I lecture André all the time about how good my internet at home is. So I'm looking pretty foolish today. Our next talk is going to be Nathalie Casanova Morales from the University of Chile. I've known Nathalie for a couple years. She's amazing. So I think it's a good contrast of a faculty member in South America. And so I'm sure you guys will all love hearing about quantum in South America, which I would say is just starting, except I also see Juan Pablo Soto, who's been a big IBM quantum ambassador in South America for a couple years now. So I know quantum computing is there. But we do have a few startups now in South America as well. So what I need you to do now is to click the red button in the left-hand corner of your screen and move to the next talk. And you'll notice, Catherine, if you look at the bottom, you have a green circle around all the heads. So everybody loved your talk. That's applause. Do you want to do a group fee real quick? Let's do a group fee real quick. Can you click that button on the bottom of your screen and we'll take a picture and you'll be in the center?
Oh, nice.
Okay, let's do that, everyone, real quick.
How do I do this? This is awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. So now you'll have like a little souvenir of your talk with a picture of you in the center and people that attended around you. So it's just kind of a fun thing.
Awesome.
Okay. Perfect. So now, everybody, it's time to press the red button and move on and join Nathalie's talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all for showing
Thank
up.
you, Catherine. You're awesome. Bye-bye.
Bye.